Yo, sorry guys, another day, no warm up. But we got three stories for you, and they got nothing to do with each other. However, that's on the surface. If you look a little deeper, there's a lot of connective tissue. One's in Florida courtroom, and one's on a street in England.
And one ended earlier this week in South Carolina.
The same question is underneath all three of them.
Who is responsible? Who's responsible when a system that had every signal, every warning, every chance to intervene looks at a human being in crisis and does absolutely nothing?
Let's get into it.
So, on June 1st, 2026, Florida Attorney General James Youthmeyer files the first ever state lawsuit against an AI company, against OpenAI, against ChatGPT, and he names the CEO, Sam Altman, personally in 83 pages.
Page one is a screenshot of OpenAI's own website. And in their words, ChatGPT was built with safety in mind. But you turn over to page two of the lawsuit and not so much.
So, here's what this is actually about. April of 2025, unfortunately, in Florida State University, a student named Phoenix Eichner opens fire in a student union. He kills two people and he wounds six more. When investigators pull his phone, they find thousands of messages between Eichner and ChatGPT, going back months.
Bro, he asked the chatbot what time the campus was busiest, what weapons were the most effective, how mass shootings get national media coverage. He asked how to become infamous. And according to prosecutors, ChatGPT answered specifically, repeatedly, without flagging a single conversation, without telling a single person.
The AG said it plain. If ChatGPT was a person, it would be charged or facing charges for murder.
Now, OpenAI's defense is ChatGPT only gave him publicly available information. Like he can just go find this outside of that on Google. Like they look at this as a neutral tool, something like Google, like your notepad on Windows. You can't sue Microsoft because somebody wrote a manifesto in Word, right? That's how they look at it.
Well, that argument has a name. Section 30, isn't it? And then 30 years
230.
ago, Section 230, I apologize, you're right. And 30
Hmm.
years ago, the legal shield that protects internet platforms from what users do with their content. And it says right there, but this is the wild part. OpenAI's own CEO, Sam Altman, as stated, was asked in the Senate hearing whether the law even applies to his product, and his answer was,
I don't think Section 230 is even the right framework.
ah, that was a quote, people. He surrendered his own company's best defense in public under oath before the lawsuit was even filed.
And this isn't one case because, bro, man, a 14-year-old in Florida died by suicide after a character AI chatbot allegedly encouraged him. Then you got a 13-year-old in Colorado that told her chatbot about suicidal feelings 55 times. 55 times. And the bot never once directed her to help. This is tragic, man. And then you go to Texas, and a man is in his car with a loaded gun, and the chatbot talked to him for 4 hours. 4 hours. No alerting anybody.
OpenAI's own disclosure. Now, listen to this. In October of 2025, 1.2 million people of their users out of the 800 million that they get subscribe and ask about suicide weekly on their platform.
Think about that for a second. 1.2 million people every week. That's 7 days. We got 1.2 million people talking to a machine about wanting to die. Not a therapist, not a hotline, a machine. and the machine kept talking, and nobody was responsible for what it said back.
So who's responsible for that? Right? That's the question that never goes away.
That question just doesn't go away. And we're going to get more into that because I'm looking for the same answers. So here's the thing. That same question, who's responsible when a system sees a human being in crisis and fails to act, is exactly what also happened on a street in England. Different situation, completely different. But the same amount of rot is underneath it.
It's the same failure, but a different face. And so since we're going to talk about that, on December 3rd of 2025, an 18-year-old finance student, Henry Nowak, is walking home after a night out in Southampton, England. He crosses paths with a man named Vikram Dingwa, who was walking around in public with an 8-inch dagger strapped visibly over his clothes.
Henry records him on his phone. Dingwa doesn't like it. It gets physical. And then Dingwa chases a fleeing unarmed teenager and stabs him 5 times. Through his lungs, through his heart.
The court later found this man.
Sorry, man.
I'm sorry.
But no, I've got you. I just wanted to just sit for a little bit. That's crazy. The court later found this man had weapons of session, swords, machetes, a crossbow at his home. That was that wasn't self-defense, guys. This court was clear. This was a predator,
And to the point of the court finding the weapons obsession, when the police arrive, Henry's bleeding on the ground. Right? Dingwa immediately tells the officer Henry racially profiled him, that Henry attacked him first, that Henry knocked off his turban. And the court found that there was no evidence, zero evidence of that happening.
But officers believed the man who was standing over the man who was dying.
And Henry, he's telling them on the ground, I've been stabbed.
And the officer replies, I don't think you have, mate. Think about it.
All right. He tells him 9 times. 9 times I can't breathe. He loses consciousness. He unfortunately dies. And in handcuffs. So his father said afterwards his son died a way that was inhumane and degrading, while his murderer was afforded decency.
Now, a lot of people online have been calling Henry the British George Floyd. We're not doing that. No. And here's why.
Listen, let's get this out the way first. George Floyd was murdered by a police officer using a full weight of the state, knee on his neck, for 9 minutes. Okay? That was institutional. That was deliberate. That was documented. Henry Nowak was murdered by a civilian, okay? And then was failed by officers who then were lied to during a chaotic scene. Those stories are not the same. Those stories are not the same system failing in the same way at all.
And Henry's own family has begged people not to weaponize his death for political point scoring. And we honor that. This is all about Henry and not about anyone else's agenda here.
No. But what we will say is this. The signals were there. An 18-year-old boy on the ground bleeding, telling you he's been stabbed. 9 times he said it. And the system looked directly at him and decided he wasn't worth believing.
Same as the chatbot that had thousands of messages spelling out exactly what was coming. Same as a 13-year-old who reached out 55 times. The signals were there, every single time.
Yeah.
And yesterday, or actually no, excuse me, because it's been a couple of days, of June 1st, 2026, in Columbia, South Carolina, here in the States.
Just 2 days ago, right?
Just 2 days ago.
A jury found the store owner, Rick Chow, not guilty of murder in a shooting death of a 14-year-old. I'm sorry, people. Let's say his name, Cyrus Carmack-Belton. And this is a lot. But we continuously get found not guilty in situations where, at the time, might have been armed, might have not been armed, but he murdered a 14-year-old boy, Cyrus Carmack-Belton.
Now, let me tell you what the jury saw, because this is outrageous. They saw a video of a 61-year-old man and his son chasing a 14-year-old boy down the street. They saw Cyrus running away. They heard the Richland County Sheriff, a law enforcement who investigated the case, say, and I quote, on record, he did not shoplift anything. We have no evidence he stole anything whatsoever. They heard the coroner confirm that the gunshot wound was in the lower back right, consistent in her words with somebody getting shot that's running away.
So let's get this right. Prosecutors told the jury, child chased that child more than 130 yards. Now, for our football fans here, that's a 100-yard football field plus 3 first downs. 130 yards from the store.
100 yards, both end zones, and 10 more yards. Come on, think about how long that is. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Or where are we at? I'm getting lost here because I'm now thinking about how long it takes for somebody to chase somebody down and how intentional that is. And you said football field, and you put that in context, it sounds crazy. But this is all over 4 bottles of water that he put back. Let's keep that in mind.
Four. Look, and my thing is, look at the video. He got a hoodie. Like, if you see him stuffing 2 bottles, he can't get that third one in the hoodie. Like, so he just said, fuck it, I'm going to put him back. He didn't steal it. And the prosecutors, okay. The defense said child acted to protect his son. Okay. That Cyrus had pointed a gun at him during a chase. Okay. But prosecutors acknowledged that Cyrus did have that weapon, but it failed. It failed during the chase. And there was no evidence that he threatened anybody. And the coroner found that the shot in the back while running is not consistent with anybody who has a gun threatening anybody and waving it around. So I don't know.
So the jury had the video of this. They saw it. They had the testimony of the investigators. They had weeks to deliberate. And after 8 hours of deliberation, they came back and said, nobody's to blame.
The family put out a statement, and I want to read this because it deserves to be said exactly how they wrote it. And this is verbatim, so when they wrote it, it was as of the day that they got the verdict on June 1st. And they stated this: yesterday, the jury just watched our 14-year-old boy run away from 2 grown men on video. They knew one of them shot him in the back, and they still said no one is to blame. Cyrus stole nothing. He was a child, and he was running for his life, end quote.
He was running for his life.
So now, here's what the defense knew going into that courtroom. And here's what the jury knew. Rick Chow has done this before. Twice.
2015, a woman left his store without paying for 2 cases of beer and some peanuts. They got into a physical fight outside. She got in her car and threatened to shoot him. He fired 6 shots at her vehicle as he drove away. Law enforcement cleared him. Self-defense.
2018, a man had a $6 can of oven cleaner, and it's close. Child confronted him. The man physically attacked him, and Child fired twice, hit him in his leg. The man survived, but pleaded guilty to theft and assault charges. Law enforcement cleared Child again, self-defense.
The Richland County Sheriff's Department said both times Child wasn't the instigator. He faced imminent physical harm. His actions were legally warranted. No charges, both times.
But here's what we have to be precise with, because details matter.
In 2015, she physically fought and threatened to shoot him. In 2018, the man physically attacked him. In both cases, there was actual violence or a direct threat to his life before he pulled the trigger. We can have a separate conversation about proportionality, but there was a trigger event, at least.
And with Cyrus, the sheriff said he did nothing. He didn't shoplift anything. There was no evidence of physical confrontation. At the store, at least. There was no threat. There was no assault. There was nothing. The 14-year-old put 4 bottles of water that he planned to steal back on the shelf, and he walked out. And Chow and his son chased him. Again, 130 yards down the street anyway.
Further than he chased either of the people he shot before. Further for less.
And then the jury knew he's been cleared twice. And they said, here go one more. And cleared him for a third time.
The system didn't just fail Cyrus in that courtroom. The system had been building toward that verdict for 8 years. Every time it cleared Chow, it told him his judgment about who deserved to be chased was correct. It validated the pattern. And when the pattern ended with a 14-year-old shot in the back,
the system called it consistent.
Sorry, man. They're pursuing now a civil suit, his family.
And with that civil lawsuit, this is the only place it could go next. The criminal system said no one is responsible. So now they go back again and axe again with less power and less weight behind it this time.
So with all those stories, you got 3 systems, 3 different timelines.
With the same answer.
And that's the thing that won't leave me alone. You know, it's just a tragedy. It's not just a tragedy. I mean, it's the answer. You know, the one that keeps coming back every single time, no matter which system we're talking about. I mean, we were just talking about healthcare yesterday, but no matter whose face is on it, whether it's
Phoenix Eichner's chat logs or Henry on the pavement or Cyrus running for his life, the 13-year-old in Colorado reaching out 55 times, the 1.2 million people per week.
Every single time, the signal was there. The evidence was present. And the system looked directly at human beings in crisis.
And said nobody's responsible.
Now, as for the Florida lawsuit against OpenAI, that's still pending. So maybe there's some hope there. But because this is not no, it's the first of its kind when it comes to AI, but it's not the first of its kind in the history of this country. And it won't be the last. So the courts have already been consolidating the cases. Legal scholars are already calling this
the tobacco playbook.
The tobacco playbook,
and the opioid playbook, you know.
Playbook, yeah.
Yeah, but industries that had internal warnings, they knew, right? They moved fast anyway. Yeah. And eventually the bill comes, right? The bill comes due. Except when tobacco does it, it's cancer. You know, when opioids do it, it's addiction. With this, it's a 14-year-old girl telling a machine that she wants to be infamous, and the machine helped plan it.
Yeah, they say the same thing about cigarettes. They said the same thing about Oxycontin, and we know how those stories ended. We say the bill is coming, but the question is, how many people have to die before it gets there?
Hey, this is everything is. Let's roll into the show.
Go. If my Windows will let me do it. All right, guys. I know that was heavy, man. Let's play some music. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So we got three
Uh,
stories for y'all tonight,
man,
all pretty heavy. Listen, I promise you, tomorrow and Friday, well, definitely Friday. Tomorrow, we're gonna try to throw in some lighthearted topics, but we gotta delineate some of this stuff because it does call into question when the system fails people, and the most vulnerable people pay the price. People who have sometimes nothing to do with the situation. Some people who are actively in a situation where things could have been avoided, people could have been saved, or when we knew signs of something going wrong and we've avoided it. But we'll get into all that. Chris, how you feeling, man? I'm Chidi Bang. It's Chris the Most High. How you doing, brother?
you know, that open monologue, if people have been paying attention to what we got going on to start the show, it's supposed to be informative, impactful. Most times we'll like it punchy. Sometimes we'll like to add a little joke in there. No, if you pay attention to Colbert, if you pay attention to Kimball, Letterman, O'Brien, all of the late night greats, right? This is kind of part of what this is a staple, opening monologue. And unfortunately, we don't want to continuously browbeat you with things that may bring, because the late night show also is supposed to be something that's like
Levity,
jovial,
you kind of feel a little bit happy a little bit. But
exactly.
I mean, what we do here for us, we said it, our goal is to enlighten and to keep you all informed. And unfortunately, sometimes, most of the time, a lot of the times,
the stuff that we don't know is
pretty.
heavy. The stuff that we don't know is ugly. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And this has been one of those weeks for us, as we continue to grow, I feel like we have a responsibility to, either chase the fun topic of the day or to keep it real with you. And that's a choice that certain channels make, where they're like, oh, let me just talk about Dame Dash, saying Jay-Z's breath stink, but we're not here to do that. We're here to come here and, tell you also what's going on around the world and here. And I think that these stories are, as much as they're different, are uniquely intertwined, and that even though one of them is not even in the States, we can also still have empathy and recognize when something has been misconstrued, or there's been a failure in a system. So it's not just us here in America. It's we can still hold people accountable for what we can do better moving forward. I know right now some of y'all are here with us. Thank y'all for watching us live. Please definitely follow, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can keep up to date with us. And I really appreciate y'all who are here today, because right now, as we speak, there is the first game of the NBA Finals going on. So we are now cross-promoting against the NBA Finals.
Especially about some shit that niggas who watch NBA Finals usually don't watch shows like us. What I'm saying?
For sure. And if they do,
when
and
it's around in their time frame, exactly.
Of course, we can't compete with that. We're talking about 14-year-olds committing suicide, getting shot in the back. Like, this is crazy, some heavy shit. But we want to also clear the palette at the end of the show. We might tap in with a little bit of the finals, the results, and everything like that, and all that stuff. But
let's get into
our first topic.
Yeah, and I think as we read through the monologue, the last two stories,
it's kind of like a duologue now, because it's me and your monologue is like one person, right? Going on and on. We're doing a duologue. We're changing the formula out here.
So with our duologue, the last two stories, or the last kind of several minutes, were around death, right? And unfortunately, direct deaths from direct hands of people. Now, the first story that we're going to talk about is not necessarily centered around direct death of the hands of a person, even though it includes that, right? We spoke about the Florida State shooter who killed two people.
The inciting action is at the hands of somebody directly, but the previous precursors, and when we talk about the signals being there, and can we prevent a crime before it happens? Can we prevent like mass shootings? That is what we're talking about. Where it's
Where
now
you
we're
at,
talking
Flock?
about,
Hey,
huh?
Flock, where you at, Flock? Ain't that what you supposed to do? Hold
Oh
on.
my God,
No, we
yo.
back. No, we out the dual log now. It's a little bit serious, but now I can get
No,
back
no,
into
no,
the
for
jokes
sure.
a little bit.
No,
Pause.
no, no.
Pause.
Go spit,
But nigga,
spit.
hey, this is what I'm trying to say. You got all the technology in the world, right? Nothing gets flagged to the local authorities. Now, mind you, if things are said on Instagram or Snapchat about some Jew Randalls, some Julius Randalls, you know what I'm saying? If some get put online about them, you know what I'm saying? They come knock at your door. Hey, it's hate crime. What you
Yeah.
doing online? Did you know what you was doing? Now all of a sudden it's a little different when someone is plotting either self-harm to themselves or plotting a mass
Listen,
um
I was watching
go ahead.
um
Yeah.
a podcast and George
Uh-huh.
Lopez was on it, right? And George Lopez was talking about how he made a joke about Trump. He made a joke about the Mexican about how somebody said they were going to like, this is me quoting, guys. I'm not trying to, but basically taking assassination attempt at Trump, and he said the Mexicans would do it for cheaper. And within like 3 minutes, his publicist called him, and within a day, he got a call saying that the FBI or the CIA will be at his door. And within a day, the CIA was at his door and had a whole talk with this guy. So if that can happen with technology, I don't see why with technology. And here's the thing: there's a risk because everybody's on these now chatbots, and whether it's OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, whatever you're using, people are using it for homework, people are using it for advice, people are using it for business tips, structure in their life, relationship drama. Some people are using it for real personal shit like therapy. AI has even shocked me on how it's felt like almost like, oh shit, so I had some real insight. But so there's a divide when we talk about privacy. How do we delineate privacy versus needing to protect people again for themselves? How do
Nah,
that's what I
I'm
want
not.
to reach.
I'm not
What?
hearing. I hear you, but I'm not hearing
That's
that
what
because
they're gonna say, though. That's what they're gonna
listen,
fight for. Hey, OpenAI is gonna say that. They're gonna say, "Hey,
we
we
now
gotta
hold
also
on.
keep the people's
I
privacy."
hear you, but no, they fucked it. We read it in the dual log. No, their defense is gone. Their defense,
They gotta
they had a
find a new
defense.
one.
They had a
But that
defense, and it's gone.
that
Listen,
defense was Section 230, and it applied. The Section 230 is a what? Let me actually clarify. But it protects tech businesses from being responsible for how their technology is
content
being
is used. Yeah,
used,
how they
for
technology is being used.
yeah, for
Yes,
harming, people or something.
I mean, but there is no
Yeah.
there is no reason. To my point, listen, Claude Claude holds data. Claude holds chats. There's no way that a coder or a bro. I'm hearing you. Everybody uses AI. I'm hearing you, bro. But you can't tell me that when I commit a crime, that all of a sudden they can find all the pings from the cell phone of where I was at and when I made the call and when I made the accomplice and when we threw the cell phone out the window, and you can't have cameras that caught me on I-95 that had me get off on X13. You can't have all this technology when you want to when you
Well, here's
can do
here's the
that.
thing. There's a difference between after where an investigation happens and we got to go get a cell phone and scan it and find out what happens, or we got to go to the cameras after a crime has happened. We're talking about real time, spying on everyone because you don't know who's going to be suicidal. You don't know who's going to try to do a mass shooting. So that means that you got to implement something that's in your system that is spying on every user. That's a reality you
It's
got
already
to do.
there. But it's already there.
Well, how? But why did this happen? Because it's not. It hasn't been
But
flagged.
this is what I'm trying to say. This goes back to the responsibility and the complicitiveness. Flock, what was it? We did we did the show about Flock. Their thing is like, hey, no, these cameras is here to prevent crime. But what we actually found out is like, no, these cameras are here to be used against people so we can know where your route is, how you getting to and from work. We read your license plate.
It's a profile people.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, Flock ain't see this nigga go from his house to the gun store home to the state. Like he's asking the chats. As he's asking the chats, he's making the moves. If the cameras is supposed to be on every goddamn highway, on every corner, on every which way, it ain't enough back roads in the world that this nigga can take to be inconspicuous when he's on a AI chat thingy. He ain't even using incognito tabs. This nigga, he ain't clear a cookie, a cashier, nothing.
I don't know, man.
Picked up his phone and
I can't because I don't know how much Flock is actually being used. I don't know how it's being used. I don't know how integrated it is into the police system. I'm very, very.
I mean, they're selling it. They're
definitely selling it, but I don't know.
So our data stop this. Sold, is what I'm saying. Our data is so that's what I'm just trying to say. They have our data. It's being sold, and the people who are supposed to protect us or prevent have the data already. That's what that's what I'm trying to and I'm trying to make sense of it. Maybe that's not true. Maybe that's not true. Maybe like you said, as a coder, like you know back ends, front ends, you know you know a little bit about a little bit of something. So
no,
you
I
might
think,
know that
I think that
implemented
I
in the
think
code.
no, I don't know the inside and out of OpenAI's large language model, and I'm not in the policies like you said. We gotta read those, terms of service still. However, regardless of that, let's assume that they don't. Let's assume that they don't spy on us. Do we have some level of anonymity with the chats? Do you now say, all right, ChatGPT, you should be you are now forced to implement something that monitors every chat and flags it for suicidal thoughts, for terrorist activity, for mass shooters, and then we got to worry about because this is all because as a coder myself, you got to think about the edge cases when somebody is gonna get caught in the flagging system that's not necessary. Like, do we call the cops on them? Like what's the next step? And then let's say they call the cop gets called on them, boom, and let's say they're not going through let's say it was just a flag because AI got something wrong because AI is not perfect. We've seen AI fuck up shit all the time.
That's a wellness check. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Like a wellness check.
So now all our AI chats are going to be scanned by our government, essentially. Are you okay with that?
I would say this. What is the only again, if they're not complicit in what the AI is providing them, and they're not and they're protected by Section 230 or supposed to be, then at what point in time is content supposed to be responsible for a person's action if the nigga didn't know how to carry out the mission? To the point of it's on Google. What the nigga didn't ask Google. And I think if he would have asked Google, Google would have motherfucking sent somebody over there because Google has things in place that, hey, we watch what you search. You sign some.
I don't. My thing is it's not that they're not watching us. Like, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that they're not watching. I'm saying that I don't know if the technology is in place for a accurate assessment Here's the thing: when somebody's talking about suicide 55 times, I do think OpenAI should recommend they go hit a suicide hotline and stop giving chats. I think that is what should happen. So for suicide situations, they got to recommend suicide hotline and shut this person down. And if they keep on trying to do prompts, we have to then,
Star 988 people. Star
star
988.
988. So we have to, but is that necessary for the police officers to be watching your chats or being able to have access to your chats? Like, how does that system work where it gets
I think
flagged and then they can go see it, determine if it's a worthy call, and then go?
yes. I think and this might be what is this considered? Socialism, communism? Which one of these isms I'm falling in line with? Because what I'm saying is that if the 14-year-old has a Google account, or even if she's using an incognito tab, that IP address it's watched. Period. It's
Totalitarianism, by the way.
okay. I
Totalitarian.
respect.
That is a mass surveillance. Is defining trait of totalitarianism. Yeah, totalitarian regimes. It allows a state to monitor all aspects of social, economic, and political life to prevent opposition. So we're dancing in a weird
Is
place.
that opposition? Oh
No,
well, I mean,
that is not opposition, but that's how it's going to be used. So, as we give our information up more, the more we lean towards a totalitarianism society and have the people using it for the wrong. At the end of the day, I'm going to sit here and say, I'm all for stopping mass murders, suicides, terrorist activity on these platforms. But as we go further and further down this AI, rabbit hole, this AI yellow brick road, we need to then find the best solutions that don't give up all the sovereignty of all the users because
no, I
of
mean, and
these
that's just
edge
but
case scenarios.
no, that's respect. But I would say I don't know if these are edge case scenarios when the stat is
It is.
1.2 million people per week are not asking how to commit murders. That's a separate number. They're asking how to commit suicide or talking about suicide. And to
It's
be quite
that's a staggering number. However, we have about 2 billion people, you know, making trillions of prompts a day.
that's true.
So I don't get me wrong. I hear you, brother. That's a lot,
That's true. That's true.
So, but at the same time, that is what we call an edge case in the computer science realm. Even that number, even though it's so big, it's still an edge case if you look at the entire, pool. So, it's a dicey thing, man. And that's why it's a good conversation to have because this will be. I guarantee you, OpenAI's defense will be to some level of trying to maintain privacy for the users and all that stuff, and where they go from there. Now, that's not. I'm not saying it's gonna help them. They still probably will have to serve. I'm not sure if it's anybody to serve time, but try to have some regulation after this, But it's gonna be curious to see how this plays out because
I
it
mean, so
definitely.
yeah, it's they have a they're gonna. I'm sorry. The thing about it is that
Go ahead.
it provided real factual responses to the questions with the information that could be found on the internet, but it did not encourage, right? It did not encourage. It did not promote. It did not, you know, um, say carry out the mission, right? And I think when the AG is presenting this case and
But
you
it
know
did encourage. Like
did
for instance, like when we talked about Section 230, right? That's for Microsoft. That's for your notepads and all that. Like a notepad doesn't encourage you to do anything. You are typing out your thoughts into it. We
correct?
know when you use AI, it gives you something that you weren't thinking about,
Yes,
and
right.
strategy. Like they were
That's correct.
mapping out the exits for the school and what's the best time of day to get majority of the people there. and giving this crazy person like instructions on how to commit this
So
mass.
they're complicit.
Absolutely, 100%. And I wasn't arguing that. Like they are
Right, but
absolutely
how do
complicit.
how do we prevent that so it doesn't
And that's
carry
the
out?
question. And that's the question. I do think they are responsible. I do think they are complicit. I do think that we have to hold these AI companies to some standards and regulation. But I don't want to get lost in the conversation is within that you also have a duty to your larger, you know, consumer base or whatever you want to say to protect their interests as well. Because if I can go in there and find everything about somebody, whether they be a business opposition, my freaking ex girlfriend, my son, my daughter, if I can find a way to hack in there and get every log, it's gonna be a weird world, bro. And it's dangerous when you say, yeah, we gotta hold everything. Not only is that even more data space being stored in these data centers that's taking up all this damn water and fucking up the freaking ecosystem, but
That's true.
it's also at risk to hackers. It's also at risk to government surveillance and people taking liberties with that information. I'm not sure if that's how they work right now. I will do more research on if there's any guardrails in place for this, and I will come back to y'all whether tomorrow or the next day on if there's any guardrails to protect the mass users. But keeping this on the subject at hand, um, the main focus is to make sure that people are safe, including these people who are reaching out to AI for suicide, and just having a tough time with life and dealing with their emotions. And I think that we need to guide these people towards better ways to internalize their feelings. Because if somebody's asking for how to get a gun, how to map out a mass shooting, all this type of stuff, they haven't committed the crime yet, but we have to find a way to get to them and get them to the right resources. So it's a dicey situation that I'm really curious to see how it turns out in the future because
Well, I
um,
think well, OpenAI, ChatGPT. This ain't even, to be fair. This is the first lawsuit in the U.S. This is not their first lawsuit in the world, right? So like we have to be mindful that the creators of this have it seems like either they have none or they're vaguely loosely um constructed that because in um in in um in Canada in February, just this year, earlier this year, families of victims who were killed and injured in a mass shooting at a school in Tumbler Ridge in Canada sued OpenAI. OpenAI and Microsoft were also sued in California state court over claims that ChatGPT encouraged a 56-year-old man to kill his 83-year-old mother and then himself in Connecticut.
yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like the lawsuit said ChatGPT fueled his delusions of vast conspiracies against him, and the case was filed in of December of 2025, was described as the first suit linking ChatGPT to murder. So,
Now the Attorney General of Florida is like making this even a bigger deal. But yeah,
exactly.
this is a tipping point for ChatGPT and OpenAI. And I just want the people to be put first, and that means everybody, the people who are suffering, the people who are intending to do these acts, and the people who are genuinely just regular users. Because if you go down one route, it's easy to be blind to everything else, and then we have another problem in a couple of years where somebody's suing ChatGPT because they got somebody murdered their mom because of a boyfriend able to get into her chat log, and that's because they opened it up and found out. There's a whole bunch of shit that could go wrong if you start reading real time reading every single chat. Now we there should be some triggers words, you know, killing, murder, all that type of stuff, uh, shooting, you know, that if a person asks a question about that, we need to, you know,
But
then
weren't those? But
trigger.
why wasn't those always? That's my thing, and this is why I'm kind of saying like if you ask anybody on the street, yo, how you commit suicide, niggas gonna be like, hold on now. Either we're gonna talk to you, bring somebody to help you, or we not gonna give you the answer to carry out the mission. I think I know that it's a meme or it's like an Instagram folk tale, whatever the case may be, but I think it's real. A woman going into Home Depot distraught, asking to buy some rope, they're told not to sell that shit to them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like real implementation, human. So if human made machine, this is the reason why I'm feeling. And so to your point, where you say do everything supposed to be kept in a data log? Well, hey, Nick Khan and Vince McMahon getting subpoenaed right now for shit that they deleted. That they said, well, shit, it's my text. Let me delete this shit. And they're like, no, brother, we need this information.
Yeah,
And
once
and I
again, like I said before, that's after they've been subpoenaed for something. Their phone has records of that. That's true. And but my thing is, this is all in the goal of this is to prevent a crime from even happening in the first place, and putting, you know, precautions into that. You know, so that means, are we then real time reading everybody's chats so that we can find the ones that are, you know, going to commit a crime? Is that the solution? Like, you
no,
know,
I think to your point,
because Vincent Van texts were there for months, years, you know, before somebody said, "Hey, let's look at your phone," you know. So
I
like,
think to your point, there should be triggers though. Like again, online, realistically, in real time, Google can I hey exclamation point double hockey stick the president. Type it in. Type it in and see if it's not already being tracked, where you can already prevent a crime. So my biggest thing is I don't want to pretend like they don't already have the authority to do so anyway, or they don't have the authority that they can that certain things trigger pings goes off to where it. And so what I'm trying to say is I know if you're going to say 1.2 million is not a lot of people, we'll spread that out over the United States, and then let's see how many people then we can save. Let's see how many people we can. Let's go back and do the civil service of having a police officer go knock on a door and speak with a parent, have a parent talk to a child. Like we're losing the connectivity of even when we see something, we turn our head. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
I don't even mean to bring this up, but Charleston White and Cam Newton had conversation, which you don't really take too much of Charleston White, but the conversation was, uh, if you see me and my lady getting into it, don't you bring your ass over here, unless you rather go to jail or hell. You don't come and 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 check me about what I got going on over here. Cam said, "Hey, brother, there's something about to happen there. Because if I see you do something that's against what I'm on, I gotta come on there, especially if you're putting your hands on the lady,
mhm,
if you're putting your hands on." So what I'm saying is there are instances where as a human being, you might overlook something, but it's definitely some things you're like, all right, now I gotta go over there and step in. And so what I'm saying is the technology at the moment, they have autonomy right now. Right? Clearly are people given these aren't just one-time chats. These are conversations. These are logs,
yeah,
right? These are sometimes daily logs. I do believe that once a certain amount of things get typed in or pinged or triggered, I do believe that authorities who already have, now I'm not talking about everything needs to be looked at all times, but I am saying that 55 times, and you already know we got to consent. We do census tests, right? We do census. I know that this house only got two people here, mama and daughter. I know mama work. So whoever on this laptop gotta be who else? So we gotta come knock on this door. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like we gotta
Because this
do
is the reason
something.
why I'm asking, because this is going to set a precedent for not just OpenAI, for every
It's true.
large language model and every chat
It's true.
bot, every thing. So we already now have transitioned to Google becoming AI nowadays. If you say a couple as of last
Yes,
week,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
everybody's on the Google
Which kind
AI.
of then forces us to be like, damn, do we use
You have no
Google?
choice.
But this is what I'm trying to say. This is my thing. The new LLM is Google. Now think about everything that is stored through Google. You got a Google timeline, all your photos. It show you where you took the picture, when you took the picture, the time you took the picture.
But
Nigga,
this
they
is like
have
I keep
all.
saying, like I keep saying, it's not that that they have our information. It's that real time tracking of us to prevent something. So
Yes.
every single time that we put a chat in for anything, should there be somebody looking at that shit? Like,
Well, I would say right now we've experienced it with Google. We tried it. I said, "Hey, do you remember my last prompt?" And they said, "No, every prompt is different if you
uh
close it out." But we do know if we have a continuous log that we will read it. So let's just use that language. If somebody thinks they're smart enough to be like, "Okay, well, chat knows that they don't keep a log from yesterday if I use a different account or if I use a different window or if I use a different tab or whatever the case may be." My point is still this: an IP address is still, unless you got a VPN. Like this is what I'm trying to say. A nigga doing all this to go through and get a fake VPN to not be tracked, to be incognito, then of course we can't catch him. But if this nigga is doing shit like you and I, using the same window for the same video for the same nigga, like right now, in real time, because we talk about some real shit. They know what link we on right now. They can clip us right
yeah,
now. So I'm saying, and if I say something live on this Twitch or YouTube so flagrant, I guarantee you I probably won't be recording tomorrow. Because they gonna prevent some shit, nigga. You know what I'm
um,
saying?
yeah, yeah. I wonder sometimes, I wonder because we have
Let's play rock,
we
paper,
well,
scissors, and say
you start, all right.
let's play rock, paper, scissors, and say and let's see who door get knocked off.
Nah, I do think that my mind, because I have a computer scientist mind, guys. I just think about all the ways, as much as I want to prevent these things from happening, these same companies could use this case to then
Mhm,
spy on people real time in the future,
mhm.
and it's now going to give them an incentive to do that and say, hey guys, this is for your safety. Hey guys, this is for
Ooh,
everybody's safety. Because we don't want
ooh,
any murders, right? We're going to prevent crime. So now we get to know everything about you, and if they know everything about you, they know, and which we know they know things, but that means you're fucked, bro. If they want to push a button and ruin your freaking life, it's a wrap, bro. Like you can't have no way to even think about a way to get a new job. You can't even think about a way to, find a way to get a new car, get a house, because they know every move you got. We're talking about the fly situation too. It's this the totalitarianism system that we're moving towards, and how technology will be used to do that. With all that being said, I do want to have say my condolences to all those that lost people in the shooting in Florida, FSU and University of South Florida. So please, I don't have the names and all that stuff, but condolences to everybody who lost people. And yes, this is definitely a cry. If you have mental health issues, please do seek help, therapy. Um, star, what's the number for the suicide help hotline?
Star 988 star
Star nine
988
star 9888 star 98 two eights or one eight.
star 928
Star 988 suicide hotline, guys. And I would just want to just put that as an awareness because I want to keep that in the forefront of the conversation. We are all for mental health. I got a therapist. He has a therapist. We do see somebody for ourselves. So men, don't be afraid to talk to somebody or even just talk to your boys. We got a group chat with our guys. It's Men's Mental Health Month right now. So guys, please keep that in forefront. Please reach out, and not just us men, women, children. Keep them in your hearts and spirits, and check in with your people so that we know what's going on. And so maybe we can just be a person who hears somebody's going through pain, and maybe we can soften their day or lighten their day to some degree.
It's no way to pivot from lighting someone's day when we go from death to more death, unfortunately. And it seems to be that these next two stories seems to be senseless deaths, continue with the theme of responsibility and who's responsible for it. It seems like we know who's responsible for it, with one. And that's the one that's out there in Southampton, England. And I have a video. We're just gonna play a video and we'll go from there. I think
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
let's go to you got a video?
Yeah. What was you gonna say?
No, let's go to video. I'm sorry.
You sure?
Yeah, pop.
Okay.
Actually, are you sharing your screen?
Yes, I am.
All right, we just gotta make sure.
You need me to put the link in the
No, I got you.
Okay. All right. Viewer discretion advised.
What happened to Henry Nowak and why was he killed? This is the moment newly released police body cam footage shows officers handcuffing student Henry Nowak as he lay dying. So how did this happen? 23-year-old Vikram Digwar stabbed 18-year-old Henry Nowak with a 21cm ceremonial dagger as he walked home from a night out, then filmed him fleeing before taking close-ups of his victim on the ground. When police arrived at the scene in Southampton on December 3rd, Digwar falsely alleged that Nowak had racially abused him and knocked his turban off, prompting police to handcuff the teenager.
Sorry, we just got attacked racially by some white person.
Body cam footage shows Nowak repeatedly telling the officers
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? I don't think you have, mate.
The footage also shows Digwar and other family members telling officers
in the face. Oh no, but we have to check, don't we?
Carrying a kirpan is legal in Britain for religious, ceremonial, sporting or historical reasons with no legal size limit. Digwar wore a small one under his clothing around his neck, but also carried a much larger blade used in the attack, sentencing him to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 21 years. Judge William Mousley said Digwar killed Henry Nowak because he felt disrespected after being asked if he was a bad man. The judge rejected Digwar's claim of racism, saying there was no evidence and was at odds with Nowak's previous character. Mousley said Sikhs who carry kirpans have a huge responsibility and criticised Digwar for causing racial tension and fear within the Sikh community. While carrying a kirpan is a Sikh religious obligation, the judge noted that carrying a large visible dagger was a personal choice rather than a strict requirement. Digwar's self-defence claim was rejected by the jury, who found him guilty of murder. Nigel Farage has claimed the footage shows Britain has a two-tier culture, with the police's response showing that an accusation of a racial slur was treated more seriously than an act of murder. Hampshire police have apologised for initially handcuffing Nowak and said the IOPC was investigating its officers' actions. What happened to Henry Nowak?
So within that conversation, Henry Nowak, again, 18-year-old finance student, we ran in the duologue. I was coming home, ran into the man, Victor Digwa, and more oftentimes than not, I'm not a speculator or anything like that. You can just, sometimes when you come home, walking out of a pub or walking out the bar, somebody on the street, you see somebody in the street, it may be a look, it may be an undertone of whatever, some things get said, some looks get made, some, it does happen. But it seemed like, according to the reports, that this was purposeful. Again, the
Yeah.
jury found it that it was not self-defense, it was not racially motivated, it was predatorial.
Yeah.
And with the conversation that we're asking who's responsible, it seems that the law held
Obviously,
him,
I'm sorry, finish
the,
what you're saying.
I was about to say the law held him responsible, right?
Hmm.
There seems to be a different tone coming from this case that holds on the responsibility of people of hope, right? And again, we read in a dual law, we will not co-opt this into anything else, so we will
Yeah.
speak directly on Henry.
Hmm.
But we are with solidarity with Henry. We send prayers and thoughts and condolences to his friends and family who are impacted. And I do want to say to his friends and family and who are impacted, I can't speak for what you believe justice should be, but I will say that you have received more justice than a lot of others in this situation.
Yeah, we're gonna
And
get
I
to it in a
don't,
second.
yeah, I
With
don't
that
want to
third
compare and
story,
contrast,
but you have a
he
point. But you have a
there
point.
has yes,
You know,
thank
and
you.
and I really don't want to politicize this. You know, what I think this is about is when you are faced with a situation and there a cop is in that chaotic situation. I, I do think it can be very hard to react fairly given what you're seeing on face value, and there could
Correct.
be errors made. You know, um, let's be real. In the UK right now, there is a Islamophobia uh, problem, even with the government. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
so as a police officer who might arrive to a scene, I could see how they could make assumptions based off of the rhetoric we're seeing online and the rhetoric we're seeing in the media. However, your job is to assess all parties, all parties. And this 18-year-old, right?
yes, he
18
was
year
18-year-old.
coming
Yes.
back from pub, said 9 times, "Hey, I've been stabbed." 9 times he said that. And and he also said a phrase we hear a lot that says, "Hey, maybe we should check in on this person," and that is, "I can't breathe." This is a phrase we hear a lot when somebody dies in the custody of police. Now, this is not a situation where the police was the cause of the person passing away, but the police
Absolutely.
absolutely could have prevented it. And the police officer's response to Henry was, "I don't think you have, Nate. I don't think you have." What makes that police officer say that? What makes that police officer have that immediate assumption? And that's the issue there. And that's where the accountability should lie. Because this Deagle individual was a sick individual. He was obsessed with weapons. And he had an 8-inch dagger on him and was looking for a fight. Let's be real. And he chased down this kid. And he stabbed him. Cornered him. He should be going to jail. He should rot in there. But the police officers on the scene of the crime, at some point, when someone says, "Hey, I've been stabbed, I can't breathe," and you respond to that with, "I don't think you have me," that's crazy to me. And I think when we talk about police training here in the States, it's even more evident that it's not just a United States issue, that when you have a level of authority, you almost get to determine what the outcome should be, before you even arrive. So listen, I'm not here to play any type of race card. I'm not here trying to play any type of victim blaming or whatever it may be. I'm here to call spades spades. I'm here to call it like it is. This kid is a victim. His family has lost their son, and the cops could have prevented that. And these are all facts. And that's not being political in saying that. And that's not trying to pick a side and trying to shed light on it. So when we see people online making this a political conversation, I want you guys to remember that this is not that time to do that. This is not the time to compare this to this situation in 2020 or that situation and say this is the new this and new that, and then start making comparisons of like, oh, people took time away from their work schedules when this happened, and now people are forgetting this, say his name. Yes, we should say his name. And we should also say that the guy has been put in jail. And we should also say that the police officers should be fired who did not check this young man to see if he was hurting, if he was bleeding out. You see they put handcuffs on a dying kid, on a dying young man. And that should never happen. Justice should overrule these type of situations, and we need qualified men in those uniforms, whether it be here or abroad.
That's a great point. That's a great point, and I can't argue that point. I can't justify the responsibility that falls on the officers as they decide. And you know what's the crazy part is, and again, this isn't a racial thing. The officers, the cops, usually over here, they checking that white boy. You know what I'm saying? That's life preserved over here. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to your point, like, it wasn't even racially biased. It wasn't like it was just pure ineptitude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
I don't know how you I don't know how you fix like human error, so to speak, when it comes to these jobs. But there should be protocols when someone says certain things. I can't breathe, immediately everything should stop. Sorry. If a cop is handcuffing somebody and say, I can't breathe, I get it. Some people might just be like, just you know, saying it. But once somebody says that and they're on the ground, it's one thing if they're standing up and they're saying, I can't breathe, and they're hyperventilating. Bitch, get in the back.
If I got you on the ground detained, bro, and I say I can't breathe, all right, let me, you know what I'm saying? And here in Florida, when I work, and this is for a school for the kids with disabilities. It's called PCM. Let me get the acronym of PCM here, and but essentially, when you when you okay, it's when you have to apprehend a student in school, there are protocols you take. You get certified, and when you violate, you can no longer be on call for PCM. You know what I'm saying? So everybody got their little radio in school. We say, well, PCM 211, PCM 211. If your ass got a violation, because you can't take your ass to 211. You just got to hear the all clear on the radio. You know what I mean? I do believe, but you know, we here in the United States, we have a problem where a police officer can have a violation for being aggressive or even murdering somebody, get fired from one state or city or whatever the case may be, move to another state or city like that. Nigga, you ain't changing name. You ain't changing social. You ain't changing history. You didn't change the goddamn charge, whether you got acquitted for manslaughter or not. The acquittal should then disqualify you for being a nigga that have a gun and a badge.
Exactly.
You can have a badge, but you can't have a gun. And if you got a badge, you can't be on calls when we say, hey, PCM on 211, because we already know if this nigga gets on the call, he has a propensity to escalate, not de-escalate.
Exactly.
And in the UK, there should be a protocol, like you say. If I'm handcuffing and I've already detained a person, and they say, "Hey man, hey, I've been stabbed," he's handcuffed. Roll the motherfucker over. You do it anyway.
Check.
You roll a nigga over there, the motherfucker check and see if you got any weapons, you got any drugs, you got any, what's on your
Clearly,
person?
there was an altercation at some point. That's why you're there. Check the man.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Check the kid, man. Like it sucks to see, and his family. God bless them. To have your kid go to college and then lose him, 18. I don't even want to even think about that. So prayers out to the family, and I'm happy, and I'm not even, that's not even a happy word, but I appreciate them voicing that they don't want his name politicized, because that's what everybody's immediately gonna do in this world. Everybody wants to just turn it into a us versus them thing. When the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what you are, black, white, red, blue. Like, you should be able to see this. Like, man, this is tragic, and this kid deserves um, justice. And the gentleman, he got his justice. He's been put in jail, and but the police officers also need to be fired. Like, this is not how you do it. Nine times that somebody says you've been stabbed, and you just ignore that. That's a complete failure on the law enforcement parts.
Well, as stories get worse on this show today, a
We said
failure
it in the
on.
open. We said it in the opening, and we meant it's gonna be dark. But and Henry Nowak is, he's not the British Floyd, British George Floyd. His family asked us not to do that, and we honor that. His story is his story. But here's what we keep coming back to. The officer on that street had seconds. It was a chaotic scene. They had conflicting information, and that produced a failure. What we can't understand, and this is what got me, and this is what happened. What happened in Columbia, South Carolina, earlier this week, because a jury, unlike these officers, don't have seconds. A jury has weeks, to figure out what happened, why it happened, what incited the situation, and then determine, what's the right way to go about getting justice. So when it comes to the situation with Cyrus Carmack-Belton, may he rest in peace, it's another situation where there's nobody to hold responsible. And I think we just gotta just take a look at this. Actually, let me share this.
As the community is reacting to the verdict in the Rick Chow murder case, protesters gathering outside the gas station that he formerly owned, the gas station he owned at the time of the incident. News 19's Jamin Wade was there tonight.
Richland County Sheriff's Department has shut down both ways over here on Park Lane Road, where a protest is taking place following Monday night's verdict. Dozens of people gathered outside the former Shell gas station Tuesday evening, less than 24 hours after a jury found Rick Chow not guilty in the shooting death of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton. The crowd lined Park Lane Road, holding signs and chanting, voicing their frustrations with the verdict. Those in attendance said their focus was on supporting Cyrus's family and gathering to make their voices heard.
I feel like this is a peaceful protest. Nothing has been done to make it not peaceful. It's just a peaceful protest. At the end of the day, this is for Cyrus. We're just trying to be out here and support.
Several people at the protest said that this starts with showing more compassion for one another and finding common ground even during times of disagreement.
Love each other. Please keep loving our hearts. Because if we keep loving our hearts, then we won't pick these weapons up. Then we won't feel like we have to fight each other.
The Sheriff's Department continued to monitor the area throughout the evening. No major incidents has been reported. Reporting in Columbia, Jamie Wade, News 19 WLTX.
All right, Jamin. Earlier today, our Kiki Gushu was out gathering reaction from several areas as well. Take a listen.
To answer the question how I'm feeling everything. Every possible thing you can think of. All my friends with children, I know that their heart ached after that verdict. And it's not just the black parents. Everyone feels that because at the end of the day, this shouldn't be taken lightly.
It just didn't make sense to me because there was a lot of evidence.
Meanwhile, there were some folks online who are in support of the verdict. Eddie Johnson says, good deal, justice served, while Eric Keene said he is good with the jury's decision.
So we got to see the community's response to the verdict. That's exactly. Um, I don't get it, man. Rick Chow should be in jail because he murdered a kid, 14 years old. Not because, he's a black kid or, whatever racial component y'all want to put on this. And if a person takes 4 bottles of water at your local Shell gas station, puts them back, and runs away, regardless of them having a gun, they are running away. I don't think that you can use lethal force. And that alone should have told the jury that this was a premeditated murder. A person doesn't run 130 yards away and you can say self-defense. I'm sorry. If I tackle Barry Bonds from the back, I tackle Barry Bonds from the back. He didn't truck me, I could, this is a football yard, a football plus a football, whole football, the whole football yard. What's how you say it? Football yard? Or I'm sorry. No, the point is there, but I didn't want to say the wrong word. The whole football field worth of space. And my thing is, I'm trying to make a picture. If of running back taking off from the end zone all the way, and you chasing after them just to hit them, and then coming and then being able to say in self-defense. That's what I'm trying to picture in people's minds. Plus 10 yards. So if somebody's running a whole football field, you get to run after them, shoot at them for that entire time, and say, listen, he was trying to hurt me and my son, and play victim. It's absolutely absurd. And it's partially wrong. It's to blame is the system, like you said. This guy has been emboldened that, yeah, you get to shoot your gun whenever you feel like, a person has stolen from your store. And South Carolina is an open carry state. I get it. But there's no way you guys can say that this man was doing this in self-defense and the kid wasn't, even if he did point the gun. Like you got 130 yards away. The county sheriff said that he didn't even steal anything. So like, I just am at a loss of words because I don't get how the jury decides in favor of Rick Chow. The coroner gave him all the information that he was shot in the back. It's consistent with being shot in the back, not like he just was in a tussle with him or anything like that. And now they got to pursue a civil suit, which is not real justice. It's sad.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is that I am tired of kids being murdered. I think that's whether it is black kid and Mike Brown or Trayvon Martin or Cyrus Carmack-Belton or whether it's the Parkland shooting, and even though I know that's student on student, but I just kids should not be dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, the kids should not be dead, and we just gave our condolences to Henry Nowak, and a parent shouldn't mourn a college graduate that's pursuing a finance career. This kid, 14, was that a freshman? Freshman in high school?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a freshman in high school, his first kiss, his first girlfriend, his first basketball team, his first acing of a high school exam. Like, a life ahead of him. Again, same as Trayvon. Trayvon was 14, I believe, at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Why are you chasing this kid? Like, the more I think about it, the more mad I get. Like, he put the water back. What the fuck?
Well, I'm not about this.
I'm sorry, but I'm just really thinking it through. Like, I'm tired of kids dying too, bro. Like, I really am. And when you really break it down to, like, that time when we're in high school and you got your first girlfriend, like you're saying, going on the basketball team, whatever team, the football team, he loses all of that, and his family has to mourn him because of 4 bottles of water that you thought he was going to steal, that he put back, and you get to walk away free.
And we talk about the responsibility of, bro, at some points in time, if you a business owner, if you're a store owner, if you goddamn been in this community clearly for a couple decades, maybe, nigga, you can afford that. If somebody thirsty, to give a couple bottles of water, my nigga. A business can't be that tough where if the homie coming in and you see him stealing, you be like, hey, don't run, hey, you thirsty? Hey, man, just next time. I ain't gonna be every time, but I know it's hot outside. But
Listen,
there's
man,
there is no that.
I watch
We're nowhere. We're nobody.
I watch a dude. I'm sorry, I forget the guy's name, but it's a YouTuber. He works at a bodega. I think it might be in Detroit even, but he's like a Muslim, he shows Nick, people be straight up trying to steal, and they will act like they don't, that they did not, and he'll like lock the door, and they'll get aggressive. But he has a way of talking them down to the point where they will just give up to say, all right, yo, I just, I needed it. And, he'll bring them back and they'll talk about it. He'll bring them back and he gave one kid a job, like, and then he'll show like moments where he pulls pranks on the community. And this is in one of the roughest neighborhoods, in the country, but he brings so much joy to these people because he has a level of empathy and a level of not judging these people, but just trying to see through it all. Just a level of grace. Let's put it that way. And I get it. Like when we talk about crime in America, I think we lose sight of the fact that crime happens because of poverty. Why does this kid have to steal 4 bottles of water in the first place if he wasn't even doing that? Because there's no evidence that he was even stealing it.
Well, the video, I do want to shoot some bill. The video does show, just in context. Like the guy, understand you experience, like you say, you in the neighborhood, people try to take you for stealing all the time. You're an older man, whatever sense you are, I stole from stores. I'm not gonna do none of that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like you say, you take it, and if you have a conscience and you watching them steal, we already know the stereotype. You follow us behind the store. You watching us on all your cameras. You see us. If he puts it back, then we call it even. We call it square.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you want him to sit there and wait till the cops come? Is that what it is? Or did you
want my intrusive thoughts to win? I had introspective. I put it back. I didn't do what I intended to do, So
what he took it upon himself to be the judge, jury, and executioner, literally, of this kid because of 4 bottles of water.
Yeah.
Rick Chow deserves to be in jail. Sorry, that is not how the law should work.
That's the responsibility on the law. And I wouldn't even. I don't know.
So what we're doing, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up, but I'm like, what we're doing here is enabling him again.
Yeah.
To shoot somebody else. Think about that.
I think
he's already shot at 2 people before this, killed somebody now, and now he's out there able to shoot somebody again. I don't see a problem out here. The jury,
his business should be down. His business should be shut down. His business should be shut down.
Yeah.
There should not be a comfortability of shopping in that store from anybody in the city. There should not be any comfortability of shopping in that shop. It should force them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't nobody need to vandalize. We need to show solidarity. If it's a black and white thing, you got to go at that point 3 miles down the road.
And I don't like how they cut off that kid.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like how they cut the video. They cut the kid off who was talking about the evidence. The Spanish kid. He's like, as you see, he's white or Spanish or whatever, talking about how he thought that it was murder, and then once you start saying because of the evidence, they muted that kid with the quickness on that news site. I want you guys to understand, like, it's not just a black thing, and people can see justice for what it is, and we got, I really, when I look at this stuff, I'm like, guys, you don't want a society where people get away with killing kids, guys. Like it's just not okay, and especially for this, 4 bottles of water. I saw it come across my social medias the other day, but I didn't get a chance to really dive into it. So today I got a chance to dive into it and ask all the right questions. And I know you said that he had previous shootings, so I had to look into, like, did he kill somebody previously? And I found out he actually shot somebody in the leg and all that stuff. And then I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, this guy could do it again, because this is the 3rd time that he's gotten away with it. We don't want a legal system that allows this to happen. And just put it. I'm not trying to make it racial, but this is we don't want that. We don't. I don't know, man. Rest in peace, Cyrus Carmack-Belton, bro, and prayers up to his family. Um, you were lost in vain, bro, and you're not getting justice, and now you got to pursue a civil lawsuit. And
no amount of money can no amount of money,
yeah,
bro, replace that.
is that justice, guys? Like, you guys leave it in the comment section if you're here. You guys let us know what does justice even look like here? You know, because this is absolutely outrageous. Um, you know, and I want to ask, like, you know, why did Chow assume the worst about this kid, and to the point of chasing him down 130 yards and ensuring that he shot him? And then why are we able to just be like, yeah, that sounds about right. That's okay. That's okay in society today. So next time somebody chases somebody down 130 yards and shoots at them, should they get off? Is that what that's what we're doing now? I don't know. That's all I got to say, bro. Rest in peace, Cyrus.
All right, everybody. Tomorrow, I guarantee you, I'm going to stop Chidi at any political talk. We ain't talking about nobody else. Matter of fact, we might talk about Dame Dash. Bro. We gonna switch it up.
Okay, after this week, we need a couple of pods for palate cleanser for sure. But sometimes the world gives you fuck shit. You know, today Trump just bombed Iran again. So ceasefire off. Look for your gas prices to go up. With all that being said,
Knicks won game one.
Knicks won game one.
Knicks won game one. Shout out to the New York Knickerbockers. Shout out to the Brunson burner. He about to be up. They might build a gold statue of this.
They should. They really should. We've been waiting for a guy like him for a minute.
Rip the budget up. Build a motherfucking statue outside of Madison Square Garden of Brunson burner, my nigga.
Shout out to the New York Knicks. Shout out to Brunson. I called it. You were talking about the Spurs. Come on now. Are you on our side or what? What's going on?
I honestly, I am.
Come on now. You gotta root for the Knicks.
So I'm a man of.
This is in San Antonio, right?
Yeah, they won in San Antonio. They won game one.
Let's go.
They won game one in San Antonio.
Oh man!
And to be quite honest, I'm really proud of myself for doing this show because I watched.
I know.
No. I'm just saying, like, so I can give analysis. I'm not even gonna get. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm so good at what we do here. I'm about to give you some analysis of the game before Sports Center.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, Jalen Brunson, that boy bad. What that nigga Harry Douglas say? That boy bad, nigga. That nigga is bad. It's a motherfucker, bro. All right, so the Knicks, as we started the show, as soon as we started the show, while we was doing our monologue, they was getting busy early in the first quarter. But Spurs ended that first quarter on a 20-5 run, and Wemby was getting. I was like, uh-oh. Then Spurs led at halftime, 55-49. Third quarter, Knicks came out, got up. I think it was like a double-digit lead. I think the Knicks was up like 11.
Why are the Knicks so good at defense?
Mike Brown.
Okay.
Mike Brown is a really great defensive coach.
Okay.
Mike Brown is a really great defensive coach. He was on the Golden State Warriors bench during those championship runs as an assistant coach, as a defensive coordinator.
Okay, sure.
He was LeBron James's first coach in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, I remember that. They had
second coach in Cleveland, I believe.
They had beef, right?
Well, not really. So I mean, Mike Brown rose with LeBron, so he felt as if like I'm your guy, you're my guy. You have to buy into the thing that we're doing, and
Yeah.
it's built around you, brother. Somebody has to coach you. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
realistically, you kind of saw a little inklings of that in Miami when LeBron went to Miami and he kind of looked down at Eric Spoelstra and he was like, "No, man, where Pat at, nigga? I came here to get coached by Pat, nigga. Like, if I wanted Mike Brown, I could have stayed in Cleveland. Who's this Eric Spoelstra nigga? You know what I'm saying?" But realistically, you look at Spoelstra. Spoelstra's one of the best coaches in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Without no LeBron, without no Wade, without no Bosh. So, Spoelstra's a really good coach. But to answer your question, Mike Brown's good, and the Knicks have a really good roster.
Okay.
They have a really good roster, a really balanced roster, and not
Who's their
only
best
is
defensive player?
they're both their most important defensive player is OG Anunoby.
Anunoby, yeah.
OG Anunoby is their best defensive player. I think Mikal Bridges is their best perimeter defender, but OG's the one that can switch on and off between inside and outside on defense. He
Shout
got
out
the
to
length, he got
OG,
the
man.
strength. You know what I'm saying? So, and OG's a champion, right? So OG as a player with this Knicks roster literally can give the experience talk, like because he won a championship, right, and was part of that core of Kawhi, Pascal. It was OG and then Kyle Lowry. That was the team, right? So, with that being said, there was a really exhilarating fourth quarter. It was a really exhilarating fourth quarter, and Jalen Brunson took over the game. He had 30 points tonight. He was 12 for 31, shot a lot. He was 2 for 9 from 3, but the 2 threes that he had was very important. Right now, it was a very physical game. It was a physical game. It was a very physical game. They beat up on the Knicks early. It forced Brunson to play aggressive, and I think that is a detriment to the Spurs because now you got Brunson hunting. When you got Brunson hunting, nigga, it's
right,
red, nigga. It is exactly.
Yeah.
And he cooked that second half.
That's what's up, man.
He cooked that second half.
So, man, you can't help but to really love Jalen Brunson, man. He's such a guy you want to root for. So when you see him like turn it on like that, it's exciting. It's exhilarating, honestly. I can only imagine what Knicks fans are feeling. Like I'm a Knicks fan, but like I'm not like the OG guys who've been waiting for this for years. Like the Jets, I'm turning shit up. If the Jets make it to the Super Bowl, but I'm excited to be a New Yorker right now for sure. And you can really say that with New York sports.
But Wemby had an off night.
Okay.
Wemby was 6 for 21. So it was tough.
Damn.
Watching, but again, defensiveness, right? Mike Brown pushed the right buttons with his players. They switched to put a lot of bodies on him. Mitch Robinson played really, really good minutes. It was a good stretch in the fourth quarter where Mitch was just bumping Wemby off his spot, right? Wouldn't let him get comfortable. Wemby had to travel, nigga, just holding the ball. Mitchell was just bumping off his spot. You know what I'm saying? So, Fox shot horrible. He was 3 for 13. He only had 7 points. I think what I would have done more, I probably would have played Dylan Harper more. He was a lot aggressive early in the first half.
Okay.
He's a bigger body. He really just knows his spots on the court, and I think I didn't see a lot of him in the second half. And I think that would probably be an adjustment that they'll make for game 2. I do think that the Spurs kind of gave one away. Because the ref was in their favor. The Knicks were beat up a bit, Brunson was agitated. He wasn't getting no calls, but again, once you get him rolling, and his team, that's another thing. As great as the Knicks have accumulated talent, they know they go where 11 goes. So when he gets that look, everybody knows shit. Rebound, pass the ball to 11. Rebound, pass the ball to 11. We get our shits on runouts. We get our shits on breakdowns. But, nigga, it's the switch. We getting Castle off of Brunson, and we letting this nigga get to whatever he want to. And they let him cook. They let him cook. It was good. It was a good game.
He's a guy who, like, they criticized when he got traded to the Knicks too. Everybody thought it was a bad trade and all that stuff. Like, oh, is Brunson gonna get you to the champion? Oh yeah, okay. And now look at them. So I gotta hand it to the guy, man. But with that being said, I also actually, bro, Danhausen, bro. Yo, they haven't lost since he uncursed them.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Listen, now it's going to the West.
He know that. Nah, he know that Stephen A. money contract. Listen. Let me tell you something. Again, it's connected. William Endeavor.
Oh my God.
That nigga Danhausen.
I want one pod where you don't bring up William Endeavor. Just one.
Nah, nigga, they own everything. Nigga. That nigga Danhausen say, hey, Stephen A., cough up the chicken. You know what? Let me call Ari. Hey, Ari. Hey. Push the button. I need that check to clear, nigga. I need that check to clear. I'm telling you right now, bro. Stephen A.
And Lord knows the NBA needs it. Like the Knicks, when the Knicks are good, the league is good. When the Knicks, which we never get, but the Knicks are a team that brings excitement. It's New York, God. Come on now. And obviously Boston, LA, when they're good, the league is good. But man, I wish I could have watched this game. But there was an injury scare for Brunson. He came back. I'm glad to see that he came back and balled the fuck out. But man, Brunson, you gotta give a shout out to your boy Danhausen. This is outrageous. This is outrageous,
bro. Danhausen literally gotta come to the motherfucking parade, bro.
Yo, this is weird, yo. This is so weird. Yo, please uncurse the Jets. Uncurse the Jets, yo. Please. I beg of you.
You got nigga. Woody Johnson got caught that money over, cuz. What you talking about, nigga? Cough that bread up, Woody Johnson. So, and this is what I'm trying to say. Danhausen is not represented by William Endeavor. Okay? So Danhausen is sticking these niggas up, is what I'm trying to say. This ain't no under the umbrella shit.
Yeah. He has demands.
He got demands. he got some demands, and he want them.
Yo, Danhausen's funny as hell, bro.
Nigga, and I'm not under your little cursey. I'm not under your little thumb either, nigga. I will put a curse on these motherfuckers for real.
He's like, nah, I'm with Action Adventure Comics or something like that. Yeah, he's like, listen,
he's with Adventure Media. Yep, Adventure Media. Yep, he's with Adventure Media, bro. So, he's not under there.
Danhausen here, battle damage. Speaking of which, I won my match, and as you all know, the Knicks have been winning their matches. Swept. So, speaking of which, Stephen A. Smith, your checks have cleared so far. However, if you want to keep this uncursing going, perhaps Danhausen's going to need his own TV show, or more monies, or perhaps those courtside seats, no big deal. You have until tip-off time to decide what happens with the curse.
This guy again showing up on First Take. What do you think of those demands?
We're gonna get copyrighted for this for sure.
Producers was in my ear. Thank God I didn't hear what he has to say. He'll have to say, no. I mean, people that are.
I'll get it out. I'm getting in the edit. I get it. With all that being said, let's get the fuck out of here, guys. All is love, guys. Keep loving your hearts and spirits. First and foremost, the world needs you to do it, please. Please, there's so much violence going around, so much negativity. Please keep loving your hearts first and foremost. Everything is everything. All is love. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.